Hello, this is your high school orientation guide for grade 9 students who are going into grade 10. Well, I really miss the fact that we can't meet together in person to give you all this information because I really like feeding off of you guys, and it's such a great thing to have you all there with your parents to get this information. So hopefully I will do the information justice. We might actually break this up into a few smaller videos to discuss the math requirements and streams and then the science streams so that it's a little broken up and then you can watch it in sections. So today we're going to kind of go through what high school looks like and kind of the expectations for your grade 10 year. So first off, my role as a career guidance counselor is to help you guys out with your course selections, your post-secondary pursuits, to figure out scholarships in grade 11 and 12, and then making sure that you have the graduation requirements to graduate in Saskatchewan. So I'm not sure if any of you know how many classes you need, but you need 24 classes in high school in order to graduate. So first, my role is really to assist students in making all of these choices and to help you out and to kind of guide you through the process. So first off, grad requirements are what we're going to talk about today. So what classes do you actually need to take? What are the requirements to graduate in Saskatchewan? And then your post-secondary pursuits. So very important to know what you plan on doing after you're done high school, because for many of you, you might be planning on going to university, and this is the University of Regina or the University of Saskatchewan, or to a technical institute like Sask Polytech. So we need to make sure that you have the right classes in high school so that you can actually get into those institutions. So we'll talk about that today. So first things first really is the grade 10 requirements. And I'm going to try and go slow because I know this is kind of a lot of information. I know a lot of you might be your first kid, first child, first time being in grade 10. So this is all new information for you. So there are some compulsory classes, and that's just classes you must have or you have to take. They are not optional. So the first four here are English Language Arts A10 and B10. Those are the two Englishes that you need to have in grade 10, and then a history class and a science 10 class. So those are four classes you must have. At Esterhazy High School, we have two classes that we make compulsory for our grade 10s. The first one being CWE 10, and that's the class that I teach. So it's basically talking about your career plans and ambitions, building a resume, a cover letter, having a portfolio, talking about health and safety and worker standards and things like that. So those are a few of the things that we go through in that class to kind of prepare you for the world of work and to prepare you for what potentially you might want to do. We do a lot of personality tests in that class to make sure that we have a good range and to give us kind of a start and a basis for what maybe you want to do after you're done these 3 years. Also a requirement for graduation is a wellness or a phys ed class. And what we do is we just get all of our grade 10s to complete that wellness 10 class, and then that way we don't have to worry about it in your grade 12 year, completing a phys ed or something like that after, when it might be more difficult because you have more academic classes that you want to take. So we get you to do the wellness 10 class in grade 10. Now, it is recommended that you do take both math classes in your grade 10 year. So the first one being Math Foundations Pre-Calculus, and the other one is Math Workplace Apprenticeship 10. Now, there's a lot of debate as to whether or not you should take both, if you should take one or the other. If you're really strong, just take the Foundations Pre-Calculus and then work towards maybe fast tracking a math by taking a grade 11 math. or just taking both. If you enjoy math, you'll find some really practical stuff in the workplace apprenticeship math. It also would be a good marks booster if you do enjoy the math classes. So these are some considerations to look into. Please do contact Mrs. Carey if you have not already talked to her about what would be a good math fit for you and which math classes you should consider taking, because really important that you don't close any doors, and the math really can do that, because for many university programs you do need Foundations 20 and maybe even Foundations 30 in order to get in. And right away, if you don't take that Math Foundations pre-calculus class, you're closing a door on university. Now, this is really important for the math streams, is Math Foundations pre-calculus, again, leads into different streams. So this is the grade 10 class. You can either go into Math Pre-Calculus or Math Foundations from the 10. Then from there, it's really important that you know that you can't just jump up or jump down. If I do pre-calculus math, I can't do 30 foundations. I have to do the 20 foundations math to do then the 30, and that's my 30 level credit. In order to graduate, you only need the 10s and then the 20s. No 30 levels to graduate, but you might need the 30 levels in order to get into the university program of your choosing. So again, calculus, pre-calculus math goes to pre-cal math 30, and then on to calculus up here. If you're doing the math workplace apprenticeship, you can't jump again into streams, so you can't go up to do math foundations. You have to stay within the pathway that is designed here. And there is this information on the website, which I'll be showing you later, so you can always look back on this. Something to note, and I know, and I've had students who've done this, they've done, the math workplace because they didn't think that they wanted to do anything related to foundations or pre-calculus, and then had to go all the way back to their grade 10 math because they did figure out what they wanted to do and had to go back and complete those math courses. So again, just don't want you to close on any doors or options for yourself. Next, so I really do want to say that in your grade 10 year, the credits do start to matter. And I don't want to sound like, oh, kindergarten to grade 9 did not matter at all. But now the government of Saskatchewan actually starts tracking and keeping tabs on your marks. And they go on to what we call a transcript. So this is a transcript of a student. This is what it's going to look like. You will be handed many of these, several of these over your high school career by me. And then this is what's basically the government keeps track of, and what you will give to scholarship committees, what people will look at universities or technical schools as to your final marks. So again, the marks actually start really counting in your grade 10 year. So really important to keep that in mind, not to put pressure on you, but just to realize that that is actually happening. Now that we've gone through grade 10, I do want to focus on the grade 11 requirements, and they are as following. So you need to take only one ELA 20 class. So the prerequisites for that are the A10 and the B10 that you've taken in grade 10, but you do need only one English in grade 11. Then you get to pick one of the following to graduate. So that math pre-calculus, the math foundations, or the math or the math workplace apprenticeship 20. Then you need to pick one of the following. So either a history 20, psychology 20, social studies 20, or law 30. This is a requirement for graduation. So one of those classes must be picked when you are going into your grade 11 year. Next is the sciences, and this is a little, again, kind of like the maths. There's streams here and different ways of going about this. So in your grade 11 year, you have to pick a minimum of one of the following, and a lot of grade 10 students actually choose to fast track their sciences. So they will pick one of these to fast track. So if you are very much into computer science, That is a great class to take in your grade 10 year. It's taught by Mr. Heisey. You know, very, very good computer science, very teacher, very knowledgeable. In fact, he actually wrote the curriculum. So you know that you're getting one of the best if you are taking this computer science 20 class, and I would highly recommend doing that. Great knowledge base there. So consider that if you're computer or tech savvy. Environmental science is also an option, health science 20 and physical science. And we're just going to go to the next slide here to kind of show you what the streams are there. So for science, Science 10 leads you into all of these different ones. It is a prerequisite for all of the 20 level sciences. So Computer Science 20 gets you to Computer Science 30. Health Science, the only class it's is a prerequisite for is Bio 30. Environmental Science you can take, and that will lead you into Bio 30, or Earth Science, which we have never offered here because there just hasn't been basically enough interest. And then Physical Science kind of leads you into a lot of other paths. The only thing it doesn't do is lead you to biology. So Physical Science is really, really important to take if you want to go into Physics 30 or Chemistry, because it is the only prerequisite for those classes. So oftentimes I will recommend that people either take, depending on their interests, either the Health Science or Environmental Science, because that will get you into the biology, and then Physical Science because it gets you into Physics and Chemistry. Now if you're a computer science person, definitely consider just Computer Science 20 because that leads you into the 30. Great class also, but if you very much want to be in the Bio 30, Physics 30, Chemistry 30, you are going to need the Health Science, Environmental Science, or Physical Science. Now for your grade 12 year, you completed 2 years, you have a lot of classes now. Grade 12 requirements are ELA A30 and B30. So now again, grade 10 you took 2 Englishes, you have to take 2, you got a break in grade 11, you only had to take 1, and now you have to take 2 grade 12 English classes. You also need to take one of the following, either Canadian Studies or History 30. So that is one of the requirements for graduation in Saskatchewan. Then, in order to graduate, you need to have 2 credits from the Arts Ed or Practical Applied Arts. Not very often do I have students who don't meet these requirements, or we're scrambling to get them a Practical or Applied Arts, but just something to be aware of that you need 2. One of those is that CWE class that you take in grade 10, and then you have to pick one more Arts Ed or Practical Applied Arts. So if you're a very academic student, this is something you're going to want to be careful of, just making sure that you pick up that drama class, that construction class, or that art class so that you have that Practical and Applied Arts credit. Last but not least, remember I mentioned that Wellness 10 class, the Phys Ed class, or Phys Ed 30, you also need to graduate. So you must complete successfully 24 credits to graduate in Saskatchewan. 5 of those must be at the 30 level. So in order to graduate in Saskatchewan, you need to have 5 grade 12 classes or 5 30 level classes in order to graduate. And students, we are encouraging you to just exceed those expectations. Obviously, 24 is the minimum. Feel free to go beyond and above that, because you have to take 10 classes in your grade 10 year. You are allowed 1 spare in your grade 11 year, and then you are allowed 2 spares in your grade 12 year. If you do not meet those requirements, then we need to fill up your schedule, or we close up your campus, which means that you don't get any spares. So it's really important to meet those requirements: 10 in grade 10, 9 in grade 11, and 8 in grade 12. So I'm just going to stop the video here, and then I'm going to move on to the second part of our presentation.